This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
The stakes have never been higher. The competition has never been stronger. 42 drivers, 25 rounds. One will be crowned champion. Competition. Commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart. You're watching the premier American Open Wheel Series on iRacing. The Lionheart IndyCar Series presented by First Medical Equipment starts now.
Sponsored by First Medical Equipment. Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart. I think that's what it said, and that is exactly what we got here for you tonight from Madison, Illinois, in the shadow of the Gateway Arch of St. Louis. This is the Global Sim Racing Channel Round 19 coverage of the Lionheart IndyCar Series 2019 Championship. Now, solidly into the back half of the season, Adam Blocker went out last week and showed that Montreal is still his track, his playground. But we come here tonight to a track where our championship leader has never won. In fact, he's had some bad luck here in IndyCar in the past and finished 11th last year with Chris Stouffer winning and Dan Guerin coming home second. Could this be the race where Dan Guerin starts a late season charge? Well, we're about to find out as all the simulated Dallara IR18 action of the Von Hansen's 200 here at Gateway streams your way live as it happens right here on the iRacing Esports Network. Hello and welcome to another GSRC broadcast in the Sim Experience Countdown to Green. Over the next 15 minutes, GSRC will bring you the storylines, the stats, and the facts you'll need to appreciate the Von Hansen 200 at Gateway that will immediately follow as we count down to green. Good evening and happy Lionheart race night to you. I'm Adam Young. Alongside me is a man that needs little introduction in these parts, Richie Hearn. I'm Jed Yaman as director, armed with cameras locked and loaded by Dougie Beard. Richie, I think Gateway is a place that you had a chance to race at a few times back in the late 90s, and it puts on a pretty good show. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, thank you, Adam. And here we are at Gateway International Raceway, although it's called Worldwide Technology Raceway now. As you can see, it's kind of an odd-shaped oval. It's about 1.25 miles. It's got two different ends. Turns 1 and 2 are very tricky, very fast, but kind of a quick little turn. And then turns 3 and 4, it's a little bit flatter on the banking and a little bit wider. And you can pretty much go flat out around this whole track, especially in qualifying trim. In real life, it's quite scary, actually. It's pretty much a commitment track, but it does put on some good races, as usually there's a couple of different lines, and it does catch some people out, especially off of turn 2 there. It gets really tight, and we've even seen in the real life racing that does catch some people and get some people in trouble. But probably the best way for you fans to really see what it's like to get around this 1.25 mile track is to jump on board that GSRC lap guide.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Global Sim Racing Channel. I'm Brian Yazek, taking you for a spin around the Gateway Motorsports Park in the GSRC IR18 IndyCar. Without further ado, here we go. Off turn 4 for your money lap, keeping those right sides right up against the white walls there. Bringing it down here into turn 1. Couple different ways to attack, but you're probably going to see him run right there. Kind of turn it in late, shift gears, and then bring it right back up the corner. Grab a gear when you need to down the back stretch, probably a little bit before where that wall breaks out. Turn 3, you're going to take a little wider entry in the daylight. In the night, you could probably cut that a lot straighter. Bringing it through here off of turn 4. Gateway doesn't really give you a whole lot of area to run off with, especially down here in turn 1, but you could see him move about a lane, half a lane higher, kind of split the seam right there. Still get it to rotate and still get it to draft off of the corner and try to get a good run at someone going down into turn 3. Turn 3, you can kind of run all over, but the fast lane is going to be right there through the middle, keeping the left side tires near the rumble strips, keeping it low off of turn 4, down the front stretch, and across the line. And that is going to complete our guide here around the Gateway Motorsports Park. I'm Brian Yazek. Enjoy the show.
And there we have a couple of laps around this tricky but super fast 1.25 mile speedway here in St. Louis. Turning laps around 25 seconds or so. That lap around St. Louis is going to be brought to you for the countdown to green by Sim Experience, the team behind the AccuForce Pro V2 direct drive steering systems. By providing unparalleled realism and the most advanced tuning features on the market, the AccuForce provides significant advantage to any sim racer. It can also make for an effective training tool for real-world drivers. For more information on the entire Sim Experience ecosystem, including their GS5 seat, Stage Series motion systems, and SimVibe software, visit www.simexperience.com and use that promo code SimXLion to get 5% off your SimVibe software.
All right, so now we're going to have a peek at the driver standings. Now, Adam Blocker is just running away with this thing here so far this season. He has to have a bad string of races finishing in the back half of the field for Dan Guerin to have any hope of doing anything here at this point. But I tell you what, that doesn't mean things are not at play. We look at 4th through about 8th in the standings. They're really only separated by about 60 points. In fact, Stephen Larkamp was able to jump 3 spots after Montreal last week, so be looking for a lot of movement there from 4th to 8th, and Andrew Kinsella could still fall back, but he wants to charge forward and still try to have a shot at Dan Guerin. We take a look at that team standings now. Those team standings, it's still pretty wide open, but not for the lead. That's Adrenaline Motorsports Red. That's Adam Blocker, Carey, and Andrew Kinsella. Synergy East is in 2nd. Loud Pedal Motorsports Cancer Down is in 3rd with Galvin Hassert and Chris Lanini. And also another one when we get back to about 5th, going all the way back to about 9th. It's still pretty tight. We can still see a lot of movement here in the remaining races of the season. Richie, why don't you go ahead and show us those rookie standings?
Yeah, and these rookie standings are brought to you by Butt Kicker, and this is where it gets really exciting. After a really good run last week by Damon Martinez, he's moved back into the lead, but he's only 14 points ahead of Rigney. And between 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, even 5th, there's very little room for error as we get closer to the end of the season. So this has been jumping around all year long. And like I said many times, it's going to go right down to the wire. So we're going to try to keep an eye on this as we go through the races. Each one of these guys, basically in the top 5, are going to have some solid races and not really give up much when we get to the end.
Yeah, some very tight standings there. And I think I hear a fan favorite kind of knock down the door. And that sounds like the possibility that Professor Lugnut may be trying to make an appearance here tonight. Now, we tried to keep him out. We tried. It didn't work. Here's Professor Lugnut.
Hans, I really think Billy Joel was under a lot of pressure to write that song. Oh, tire pressure. Oh, hey, Adam, Richie. Hey, guys. Professor Lugnut here, I guess. Tire pressures are one of the more important aspects of the Dallara IR18. It dramatically affects how the car handles. Now, there are 2 aspects of the tire that the pressure actually impacts: the sidewall and the tread. The sidewall, that's where you see Firestone on the side of the tire. The tread, that's that wide space across the middle of the tire. Now, increasing tire pressure leads to more rigid sidewall. Now that effectively changes the spring rate and the dynamic camber of the tire because it makes it less flexible. At the same time, tire pressure impacts the tread of the tire. Now, not really any tread like you have on your street cars, but the tread of the tires. We talk about that surface across the width of the tire. That decreasing pressure heats up the inside and the outside of the tire, while increasing tire pressure heats up the middle of the tire more. This is because just like when you fill up a balloon, as the tire gets more air in it, it becomes more round. Same thing with a balloon, same principle. So what does this all add up to? Well, lower tire pressures will tend to give you more grip, but those tires also heat up a lot quicker and degrade faster. So what do you do to counteract that? Well, maybe a little higher tire pressure is what you're going to need, where you'll have a little less grip in general, but that tire lasts longer and operate at a lower temperature. Now, these principles aren't always true due to other setup factors, but this can sometimes run contrary to the convention. So setting these tire pressures up can really be one of the final steps in a difficult setup balance, especially at a place like Gateway Motorsports Park tonight, fellas.
And there was Professor Lugnut. We'll check in with him again next week at Iowa. So it'll be interesting to see what he brings out of the coffers there. Hey, the best of the best in the iRacing World Championships, as well as many top private leagues like the one you're watching right now, are showcased right here on the iRacing Esports Network. If you haven't done so yet, make sure and subscribe. GSRC is proud to be part of the IESN stable of broadcasters. And of course, consider the premier fixed setup racing league for the Dallara IR18 on the iRacing service. The Lionheart IndyCar Series honors the memory of the late Dan Weldon, and we honor him, we will today, on the 8th anniversary of his tragic passing, by completing laps 8 through 11 in silence, with just the sounds of the engines and the drivers to serenade our thoughts as we remember the Lionheart. If there happens to be a caution in that laps 8 to 11, we'll do it on the next green flag laps that we have. So Richie, got qualifying on the track right now. We'll have those standings for you on the side there, but we also got to talk about the race details here for today.
And these series details comes to us thanks to minus 273, the premier name in karting gloves. For more information on minus 273's full line of gloves and apparel, visit minus273.biz and use the promo code LHRS for 25% off all your orders. And here are our series details. We're obviously working season 7 of the Lionheart IndyCar Series, round 19 of 25 with 3 driver drops. We're getting near the end here. We're using the Dallara IR18, and the setups are fixed, but they are adjusted to make them a little bit more racy. And we're working on cash and prizes totaling $9,652.
And that's definitely some money there that guys would like to get their hands on. We'll show you the weather here in a few minutes. We do want to bring you the qualifying that we've got out there right now. Riding on board with George Anzaldo as he's getting ready to set a time. Hey, George Anzaldo led the Fast 9 for this race, so he's able to get up there on the leaderboard for that. Coming across to the start-finish line now to complete, I believe this is his first timed lap. What's he going to come in at? 13th, so we'll see what he can do here on his second lap right now. Joe Flanagan on the provisional pole with Chris Stouffer, last year's winner, right behind him. Looking at Connor Harrington now sitting 21st right now. He was quick in practice, so expect a little bit more out of him here. Of course, practice got the draft in play, the NHR Esports machine. Coming around is Dan Guerin. You see right there, takes the provisional pole away from Flanagan. What does Connor Harrington do? Ooh, big jump, 21st to 3rd.
Yeah, nice lap by Dan Guerin and Joe Flanagan. Adam Blocker, usually up in the front pretty much all year. He's sitting there in 8th spot. So as you mentioned before, this is probably not one of his strongest tracks. So he's going to have some work to do. And Damon Martinez, our Rookie of the Year standing, sitting there back in 13th. And times are really close, but it's starting in the middle of the pack. You're kind of in that danger zone, getting caught up into somebody's wreck, and that could end your day real quick.
And as you mentioned, at a place where like here, where we're all going to be running different lines and everything else, particularly through 3 and 4, it could get tight a hurry. We've seen it time and time again here, particularly on the front stretch, where lots of things can happen in a hurry. Stephen Larkamp now on his second lap, and the second lap seems to be the fast lap for these guys. We'll see what Larkamp is able to do. He ran a 24.421 in practice, one of the quickest guys in the draft. We'll see what he can do here all by his lonesome from 24th to 18th. So not as big of a jump as he would have liked. And I think he was our last car out there. So with that, let's go ahead and bring up the grid. On the pole, we've got Dan Guerin taking up the front row. Alongside him will be Joe Flanagan. Connor Harrington is going to take up row 2 with Dustin Wardlow. Row 3 belongs to Mark Cohn and Brian Yazik. Chris Stouffer is going to come in row 4. Of course, he was last year's winner. Ron Hacker will start alongside him in 8th. Brian Beard will be in 9th, and Adam Blocker is going to round out your top 10.
Starting 11th is going to be Jason Galvin, and right next to him will be Tony Shawan. Starting 13th will be Big Joe Hasser, and 14th will be Mike Rigney. Starting in the 8th row, Damon Martinez, and right next to him will be Tyler Groff. Starting 17th will be Isaiah Dupree, and starting 18th will be Stephen Larkamp. Starting 19th will be Bart Workman, and starting 20th will be Brian Carey.
And then we've got, as I talked about, the leader of the Fast 9 this week, George Anzaldo in 21st. We'll see what he's able to move up. Andrew Kinsella, who does a lot of the setup work on these cars, he's going to start in 22nd. Brandon Lumpkin in 23rd. Justin Weaver in 24th, and he was the last guy to set a time. Bob Mikas, Chris Lanini, John Hill, Sage Karam, and James Brandt will round out the field, and I see everybody in the session, so all those guys should probably start. As the cars get ready to grid here, let's go ahead and take a moment, go ahead and pull up that weather while we've got the chance to do it here before we start going around the onboard cameras. And 79 degrees, the sun has set here at Gateway. And that means the track temperature is going to start coming down as well to match the air temperature. 81 degrees now for a track temp. So track temp not going to play that much of a role here tonight, Richie. Winds out of the east at 6 miles an hour. So it should be pretty even, full throttle, I imagine, for the first couple laps for these guys.
Yeah, the tires are really good for those first couple of laps. A little tricky on the first opening lap, but once they come in, car feels really good. But it does start to fade a little bit, especially once they get into the draft. But that track temperature will keep these tires under them, so I don't see that much of a problem. It's just a matter of finding clean air and getting that bite on the front of the car as you try to turn in at those high speeds.
Well, these guys get ready to roll. We see the pace car pulling off. We'll get one pace lap before we get going here at Gateway tonight. Of course, we do always have some onboard cameras for you. We can start off with Brandon Lipkin in that 73 Synergy Motorsports West machine. He's going to be carrying the first medical equipment onboard camera, your source for medical supplies and equipment in the Burlington, Iowa area. Go to their home track next weekend. Bob Mikas in the number 17. Bob Mikas helping us out, sponsoring the race here for today with his brand of Von Hansen's Meat Markets. Definitely check them out at vonhansens.com. Von Hansen's is delivered personalized full service in a friendly old-fashioned meat market environment. Brian Beard is going to be in the Sim Experience number 5 onboard camera today. Use promo code SIMXLINE to get 5% off of SimVibe software at www.simexperience.com. Oh, we're going to be going around for 160 laps today. Just waiting for that pace car to release the hounds, so to speak. As it's making its way through 3 and 4, it'll pull right off there, very sharp angle. Dan Guerin has the field, waiting for him to get on. He's going to get a good jump on the field. He is away. We are starting the Von Hansen's 200 here at Gateway. It's clean so far as these guys head into 1. Side by side for second, though, Joe Flanagan has Connor Harrington on the inside of him. Dustin Wardlow right behind those guys. In fact, Dustin Wardlow is going to try to make a play on third here on the outside of Connor Harrington. You got Brian Yazik behind them. Richie?
Yeah, I was going to say, you can really get a good run on the outside in 3 and 4 as we get a pass for the lead right here. Joe Flanagan is trying to go on the inside of Dan Guerin right into turn 1. Dan's not going to fight him too hard. Dan's had some good runs lately, but he's had some bad luck too, so I'm sure he's going to be a little bit gun shy, maybe at the beginning, try to get through this first half of the race.
Now, this has been a race in years past where it's been known to have quite a few lead changes, but at least my experience, the IR18 and Richie, I think you got a little bit more seat time in the IR18 on iRacing than I do, but it seems like the aero wash is a little bit more pronounced than in years past here, and that's going to affect these guys today.
Yeah, definitely. Dan Guerin goes back to the lead. But yeah, I mean, it's not terrible. You just got to learn how to time your passing, and you can't, try to run right behind somebody, find your air, find your pocket of air that you can get that front wing working. But now we got Connor Harrington looking to go on the inside of Dan Guerin. He's going to take the lead. Joe Flanagan falling back, and he's also going to get challenged by Dustin Wardlow. Dan Guerin now in second, but he's carrying that momentum. He's going to go go around the outside of Connor. And Connor's going to hold that, but now Dustin Wardlow is going to try to take the inside and go in. And we got two wide racing. These guys are racing hard right out of the box.
Yeah, not a lot of room out there as those guys continue on. In fact, tight racing all through the field here still, as these guys have not been able to separate themselves from each other. I imagine as the tires wear down, that'll be a thing. But Connor Harrington right now doing his best to try to play both lines, moving back and forth, riding on board now with Big Joe Hasser. See his speed there, 182 miles an hour on the exit of 4. They're going to go flying down the front straightaway, and look at that, another fight for the lead there. This time around, Dan Guerin's going to try to get it from Connor Harrington. Dan Guerin actually looks like he tightens up on the inside. Yellow flag is out, and that's going to be George Ansaldo. Oh, and I'm looking at it here on my end as we pull up the GSRC replay machine. Looks to be there was still a good foot between those guys. George did come down a little bit, but it looks like that's the ever-present net code there, Richie.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think they really truly made contact, and that's just part of the game. It's just just one of those things you got to deal with. It doesn't make anybody happy, but it's part of it, and that's just the danger of running too close. And George has got a lot of damage on his car. He might be able to get that fixed, but he's going to definitely lose some time, maybe a lap or two in the pits.
Right on board, and see just how hard of a hit that was. I'd have to imagine he's probably got some significant suspension damage from that, not just replaceable panels. So we'll see what happens with him over the next few minutes. We did mention that we're going to have the tribute in honor of Dan Weldon here, but since we're under caution, we'll do one green flag lap, call that green flag lap, and we'll just let the action take it from there here for a couple of laps. Nobody pitting here in the early part of this one. Should be a quick caution with nobody having gone a lap down yet. George Ansaldo will be the first one to lose a lap. He's still out there though, trying to bring it around. Coming down pit road now is also see Brian Beard bringing some experience onboard camera down pit road. So at least got one taker out there here for this this yellow flag. And, George Ansaldo was the one that was right behind him. James Brandt also taking advantage. Andrew Kinsella, Bart Workman coming down pit road. So there are your takers here for this first yellow. The Skidmark Motorsports machines, I think all of them came down. I think that's noteworthy. Maybe they already figured that they want to get tires, or maybe they figure they want to be in the back for a little bit.
Some of it might just be fuel. If you're in the back, why not? And it just opens up your fuel window for the rest of the race.
This is why we pay Richie the big bucks. So that's kind of what we're thinking there, and we'll keep an eye on it. And George Ansaldo, actually, it looks like he had most of those body panels replaced. I've got to be concerned about how straight that car is going to drive for him, though. So we'll keep an eye on him whenever we do, in fact, go back to green flag racing here. As I mentioned, this should be a quick yellow. Would not be surprised if they're getting 2 or 1 to go here. See if the lights on the pace car, trying to get up to the pace cars, are they on or off?
Yep,
they are off. So we're going to be going one more time around here. We'll be coming back to green in just a moment. But Richie, if that keeps up like that, like we saw there for the first couple of laps, we're going to see a lot of lead changes tonight.
Yeah, they are racing around here like it's a super speedway, 2x2x2 all the way around, and it's going to change as the tires wear out. Everything's good when those tires are fresh, but I think you're going to see guys having to lift in the middle of the corner, lose that momentum, and it'll kind of single file out, and hopefully we'll get some long green flag running here.
Well, I remember Lionheart Retro Series here earlier on this year when I got to toot my own horn a little bit. I think I set the fastest lap in that race, and that came right at the end there of a long green flag run, and it's probably going to be the same for these IR18s that they're able to get a nice long run here today. And be able to maybe make some moves. Pace car is off. Everybody trying to stay on that high line there to prevent anybody from getting a run. Single file restart. Dan Guerin on the gas. He is away. We are back racing here at Gateway. Connor Harrington in second. We're looking at Joe Flanagan third. Dustin Wardlow fourth. And Chris Stouffer underneath him. Chris Stouffer trying to make a play to try to get into fourth position. He's going to go ahead and try to seal that up. But looking back up, Joe Flanagan trying to move around, trying to break up that draft. Connor Harrington also trying to look to the outside now of Dan Guerin. And with that, we've completed one lap here under green. We're going to go ahead and stay silent here for the next 3 laps in memory of the Lionheart, Dan Weldon. Of course, those last 3 laps, once again, in honor of Dan Weldon, who this series is named after. We remember the Lionheart 8 years after his passing in Las Vegas in that IndyCar race. Connor Harrington, though, and Dan Guerin been going at it. You've been watching it right there on your screen. Dan Guerin going back to the inside. Richie, I think this front's just going to be that crazy here for a while. We kind of talked about it already a number of times. One thing I noticed, though, is that a couple of guys are trying to make the high side work. A few of them are just getting ate up right now. You think that high side's going to come in and more of the race comes along?
I think as the tires wear out, you're going to have to run a little bit higher. You're not going to be able to pinch it down so low. Otherwise, you're going to have to get off the gas. But yeah, these guys have been leapfrogging themselves back and forth. And now, as you can see, Dan Guerin's kind of holding steady in the lead, although Connor Harrington's getting a nice run out of him and almost gets into the back of him coming off that corner, as you saw on from the blimp there. That's going to open the door for Joe Flanagan. But as he goes down to the bottom here, it tightens up and he has to kind of get out of it, and that keeps that high groove running. So I think, as you noted, as you mentioned, I think as we get going a little farther into the run, you'll see guys kind of moving up, and just try to keep that momentum going.
And of course, when you're up front like that, you want to try to be where the clean air is. That's a little bit tougher through 1 and 2, where the track's a little tighter here on this egg-shaped oval. But Dan, is that Connor Harrington? Big wreck there.
That was, I don't know who that was, but Connor, it was like places 3rd and 4th or something like that. Got
Dustin Wardlow just now stopped flipping. Brandon Limpkeman involved. Jason Galvin involved. See Bart Workman.
Yeah, it looked like it was Joe Flanagan washed up right into the side of, I think that was Dustin Wardlow, and that just wadded everybody up. It's going to eliminate a lot of cars.
Yeah, and see Big Joe Hassert, a little bit of contact there with Joe Flanagan, and sent a couple of cars on just a really wild ride. Somebody went through the grass, I think, on almost halfway down the back. That was Adam Blocker. We'll have to get a look at Adam Blocker here, as he spent a lot of time in the grass in just a moment. Oh, man, it's just a crazy ride for Joe Hassert, riding on board with him.
Yeah, it looked like just Joe Flanagan just kind of washed up, and basically Dustin Wardlow came down, and just kind of one of those things, and unfortunately it was right in the front of the pack. Here's Adam Blocker's ride.
Yeah, sees everything.
Championship.
He's just going to take it through the grass and decided to make his IR-18 a little bit of an off-road vehicle. Now, he did pick up some front wing damage for his trouble there, which he's coming down pit road now to probably try to get that fixed. And I think I've seen a lot of the front runners coming down too. Chris Stover, Joe Flanagan, Connor Harrington, Dan Guerin, all making their first pit stops of the night. Everybody slides into their boxes. I didn't see anybody slip up, so all perfect entries into those pit boxes here. See who's the first away. Dan Guerin's pulling out. And Connor Harrington's going to get second. And I want to say Chris Stouffer was able to get Joe Flanagan for third. iRacing might have a different opinion there.
Yeah, Brian Yazik. Joe got back in front.
So there we go. That is your first round of pit stops for everybody just about here for tonight. John Hill stayed out. He's coming down pit road now. George Zaldo also stayed out. He's able to stay on the lead lap despite his accident.
Yeah, some of those guys that took that early pit stop, Kinsella's now going to be the point man. He's got Chris Lanini and George Zaldo. So everybody that pitted early is staying out, jumping up to the front of the line, and that's going to put Dan Guerin back in about fourth position, I believe.
And we've you speculated that George Zaldo might be able to get some of that damage fixed, and it looks like despite that hard contact with the wall, it was all replaceable body panels that just got damaged. So his lap times have been pretty respectable compared to everybody else. So he might be able to salvage his race out of this.
Yeah, he got lucky there. Even though he had high damage, he was able to get going right away. Didn't lose a lap, got the car fixed, and he's basically back in the game and on Andrew's schedule, which is not a bad schedule to be on.
We'll have to see how that plays out. There is a thought that in this race, historically, they've only had about 4 cautions for the entire event here at Gateway when the Lionheart IndyCar Series has come here. So that is something to think about. And here we are already on caution 2. So being maybe a little bit off cycle from everybody might not necessarily be a bad idea. But we'll see how that's going to work out for those guys soon enough. That pace car has pulled off. Andrew Kinsella waiting to get on the gas. There he goes. He is away as we're going to go back to green flag racing here in the Von Hansen's 200 at Gateway. Andrew Kinsella comes underneath the flag stand. George Zaldo now in second. Dan Guerin third. Connor Harrington fourth. And Joe Flanagan in fifth. That's your top 5. And they're all single file here so far. But that's what we've been seeing out of these restarts. You have to go a long way back before we start seeing anybody try to really make any kind of move here at this point. It'll be interesting to see just how long it takes the likes of Dan Guerin and Connor Harrington to suck back up to the back of George Zaldo. In fact, George Zaldo here taking a look now at Andrew Kinsella. Hearing a penalty now. That's going to be a drive-through penalty on Joe Flanagan. Joe Flanagan's going to have to come down pit road, drive through. He's already off the racetrack. He's going to take that penalty right away. Now, George Zaldo has already given up second. Dan Guerin has moved into that second place, and he's going to take a look for the lead here going underneath Andrew Kinsella. Andrew Kinsella is going to take the high line, able to shut it off before George Zaldo gets a run. In turn, George Zaldo not able to hold off Connor Harrington. Connor Harrington's going to move to the inside of him, see if he's able to put him away here through 3 and 4.
Yeah, Dan Guerin's on a mission to go right back to the point and get that clean air. Connor Harrington's trying to stay with him, although he did just get by George Zaldo. And now he's looking to go on the inside, dives to the bottom here in turns 1 and 2, going to come up and cross over him, take that spot. So the guys that are running 1 and 2 are now back running 1 and 2.
Now, Joe Flanagan was, of course, able to drive down pit road without losing a lap. So, and one more yellow would put him right back into it. But right now, these guys really try to want to get a green flag run going, and they're doing their best at it. Andrew Kinsella dropping back to third, Christopher fourth, Yazik now at fifth, George Zaldo back there still as well, dropping to the back end of that pack. Dan Guerin doing his best now to try to control this. But that's tough. I mean, it seems like everybody's able to get really good runs at draft, playing a role. But notice that they're right there, Richie. Nobody really tried to step out and pass here going down the front straightaway. In fact, it was only Brian Yazik going back to fifth position that tried to break that up.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to settle in here, although Christopher's powering away up to third spot. He's going to try to dive into the inside of Connor Harrington into 3 and 4, and he does that and make a twofer. He's going to try to go get in the draft and take a pass on the leader, Dan Guerin. So Christopher's going to go to the lead temporarily here, and he's going to hold that spot. I would like to know these type 5 guys, all the way back to Anzaldo, have really separated themselves out to 6th spot, which is 7th spot, which is Mark Cohn. And now Dan Guerin's going to leapfrog himself back. But man, Christopher's, even though he qualified 2nd, fell back, but he's making his presence known again.
Yeah, when I was commenting a little while ago how it looked like somebody was getting ate up on the outside, one of those cars was Christopher. So beneficial yellow so far, it looks like, for Christopher, since he was able to get back up there into the fight. And now a very familiar place for Christopher here at Gateway, and that's in the lead. He was last year's race winner, trying to go for it again. And here comes Brian Yazik, another guy here that's trying to make a play.
And now these guys are stacking up 2 by 2. Connor Harrington is just sticking right behind Dan Guerin's gearbox there, but that's going to open the door for Brian Yazik. He's going to slip into that 3rd spot, but Dan Guerin and Connor Harrington are both going to pull out. And Dan Guerin's going to jump back to the lead. So it's pretty exciting racing for these top guys. They're running real clean. A lot of grip you can see, so they're able to run multiple lines. So nice job on the setup.
And just Big Joe Hassert fans, he has decided to go ahead and call it a night. And Joe Flanagan did come back out after that penalty, but he went back down pit road and is out of the car, so don't know if he's going to be coming back. You got the battle for 7th here now on your screen. Hey, Richie, real quick, one thing we didn't talk about that so far here tonight is the race analysis. So if we get that up here on the screen real quick, go over that. What can we expect here for the rest of the event?
Well, you can see right there, we can go about 38. Oh, no, yellow flag, yellow flag.
All right, we'll come back to that here in just a second. Damon Martinez is currently sitting in the fence.
Yeah, that's going to impact our Rookie of the Year standings. He was the leader, but like I said, it's been kind of flip-flopping back and forth, and that's really going to change that.
Yeah, and Ron Hacker was one of the guys that was kind of in the points fight there in the middle part of the top 10. He got involved, heavy damage on his car. And there's another pink car there. Isaiah Dupre was involved. Riding on board now, Bob Mikas with that Von Hansen's onboard camera, the race sponsor here for tonight. See what he sees. Okay, well, just saw how that got tipped off, and Bob Mikas did not get away with that without damage. He is missing part of his front wing. Well, the leaders have decided that that was enough laps to go ahead and try to come down pit road again. Here comes Christopher all the way down. And see, these guys here are going for 160 laps tonight. We are running now lap 33 when they come across the line. So potentially already thinking about maybe some longer runs here, trying to shortstop here a little bit. Christopher should get to his box here now. He's making that stop. Hits his marks perfectly. Yazik hits his marks perfectly. Everybody into their stalls. And we'll see who wins the race off pit road this time. Christopher is out. He is going to be the one to come away on pit road. Dan Guerin 2nd, Connor Harrington in 3rd, Yazik 4th, and Andrew Kinsella coming back into the picture here. He's going to be in 5th position, and George Anzaldo in 6th. So still some of those guys. One guy to mention, though, that's back up there here, Richie, is Sage Karam. Sage Karam started in the back of the field here tonight, so trying to make up some lost ground early. One guy stayed out, Jason Galvin. Jason Galvin stayed on the racetrack. He is now behind the pace car, and might be another guy that's just trying to look at track position here tonight. Yeah,
I mean, running up front is definitely key, but at the same time, like you said, traditionally, they don't have a lot of yellows here. So when there is a yellow, you might want to take advantage, because if you have to pit under green, you're definitely going to lose probably 2 laps, at least a lap and a half. So unless they get another yellow soon and they go long, Jason Galvin's just going to fall down the order. Would like to give a shout out to basically Anzaldo he had that wreck and was able to get his car fixed, stay on the lead lap. And now he's back on the same cycle, him and Kinsella, as everybody else. So pitting early was really important. Those guys both started 22nd and 21st, respectively, and now they're up in the top 10.
We'll see how that's going to work out for him when we get ready to go back to green here in just a moment. I don't think we had anybody actively out there running. Okay, John Hill's out there running, so it won't be a quick caution. John Hill now down 2 laps to the leader. So with him still out there, this is probably not going to be the super quick cautions that we like to see. Okay, Jason Galvin's decided he didn't want to be out there in front, so he's going to go ahead and come down pit road now. So
Yeah,
that'll move Christopher.
He thought second about that. He might as well just come in, get on the same cycle as everybody. Would point out that, like I said, our Rookie of the Year standings leader, David Martinez, had that accident. And our guys that are running with him, basically Rigney and Carey, Hill's a couple laps down, but Rigney and Carey are still in the game here. Carey running 11th, so this might be another change of the leader as we get closer to the season, to the end of the season.
With as close as those guys are in that standing, I wouldn't be surprised from here going forward if we have a new points leader in the rookie standings every single week. That's one thing about the Lionheart series that I really like, is you have a Rookie of the Year championship, but these guys, for the most part, are not actually rookies. They usually come into the series with a lot of experience. So very tight battle there and very fun to watch.
Yeah, you can't just join the series. They just don't let anybody join. So they really kind of look at what you've done in the past and where you've run. A lot of these guys have run in the retro series and earned their way up here. So they're not, even though they're rookies to this car and this series, they're not rookies as a driver.
Well, the lights are off on the pace car. It's getting ready to take that hard left here. Down pit road, everybody already occupying the high side of the racetrack. When we get back to that race analysis here in just a moment, we'll get a lap or two of green underway. Christopher on the gas. He is away. Seeing lots of guys getting big jumps on the field, but that draft will bring them right back. At least that's what Dan Guerin and Connor Harrington are hoping for here. Is already kind of starting to drift up just a touch there through 1 and 2. Looking at Sage Karam. Sage Karam kind of broke the line there a little bit. Adam Blocker trying to make a move now on George and Saldo in the back. Those are your first changes of position. They're going back to about 7th and 8th. Meanwhile, up front, Christopher now having to defend from Dan Guerin. He's going to have Dan Guerin on the inside. Yasik trying to follow now in his tire tracks. Andrew Kinsella having to take a little bit of evasive action there. Dan Guerin losing some momentum coming off turn 2. That's going to allow Connor Harrington to slide right to the inside. Has a run on your leader, Christopher, but has to get out of the gas to keep from running into the back of him.
Yeah, Christopher holding off strong, but now he's got big challenge from Connor Harrington. He's got the inside line going into 1. Brian Yazek looking to go the inside of Dan Guerin. Oh, Christopher's going to do the crossover coming off the corner. And really pulls out quickly, and he's going to try to get that position going into 3. Looks like he's got it, and that's going to open the door for Dan Guerin. These guys are battling hard. Meanwhile, Adam Blocker is caught, and Sage Karam has caught up to the back of this pack, so we're going to have about a 6 or 7 car battle for the lead really quickly.
I would say it's already here. All it's going to take is one slip up, and you're going to find yourself falling all the way back to 7th position or worse here at this point. Last time around, Dan Guerin thought about taking it 3 wide. Doesn't have the opportunity to do that here. All but Sage Karam, though, back there, he's the first guy I've seen now here really try to make that high line work as the race goes along. So maybe just the right temperature now on that high line here on fresh tires. As Connor Harrington's going to slip up, Sage Karam's going to look to the inside of him. He's going to be able to get by. They're going to go 3 wide here into 3 and 4.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that Sage Karam's been working that high line, and as everybody goes low and they stack up and have to lift, he's got clean air, but he's worked his way up to 2nd spot. He's bringing Adam Blocker along with him, and Sage Karam, even though he started in the back with the penalty, he's gone right to the front, basically on lap 40. And there you go. Ooh, man, he really.
Yeah, we had a few cars there that iRacing actually wanted to take away the front wings on there for just a minute. Christopher and Dan Guerin being some of them, but they were able to stay out of each other. But Dan Guerin is going to drop to the back of that pack, and that might not be a bad thing to get his heart rate down after that moment.
Yeah, Sage Karam really chopped up in front of Christopher, who had to check up and check. Everybody checked up, and unfortunately it caught into Dan Guerin. But he's still out there. He's probably going to, like you said, just take a breather and let these guys race hard. They're racing a little bit harder than he probably likes at this point in the game. Sage Karam really trying to bully his way to the front, and he hasn't been able to keep it. He's got to the front, but Christopher and Connor Harrington are having nothing of it, and they've been able to bully him back to third at the moment.
Well, we tried it a few minutes ago. We'll try it again. If we can show that race analysis here. Of course, we're going 160 laps here for today, and already clicking off on lap 44 of that. The big number that I wanted to point out on this, Richie, is going to be that max fuel stint of 38 laps, and that very well could come to play here as we start getting some longer green flag runs.
Yeah, hopefully we do get some green flag pit stops because it's a lot more exciting. Right now they're going 3 wide into turn 3 as Sage Karam's going to try to push his way up through the middle. But yeah, 38 laps on a full tank. We'll see where we go. We're working lap 12 and 13 of the 12 basically of the last pit stop as everybody settles in, although it doesn't look like they're settling in too much. Sage Karam still trying to go around the outside. Christopher holding tight on that bottom lane.
And one thing we didn't really talk about that you might be able to answer, what is pit entry like here under green flag conditions, Richie? Sage Karam in the wall, Christopher in the wall. Christopher sliding to a stop in front of that second pack. I think everybody missed him.
He ult out into that thing before he got T-boned. Unfortunately, it looked like Sage Karam just rode right into the back of Christopher here, as you're going to see online. Kind of clips him, goes in the wall, and there goes Adam Blocker, our championship leader, once again getting by. And here we go, another replay here. Sage Karam on board, and you can see him. He's just going to get right into the back of him.
That's one of those things too that you might think that Christopher, I hate to use the phrase rage quit or something like that there. No, I think he realized the position he was in and those cars were still coming. He didn't want to ruin anybody's race because that front straightaway, when things happen here at Gateway, it closes up in a hurry. Meanwhile, our leader's now on pit road. Brian Yazik going to be the first one to his box. He's got leader here now after that incident there where everybody had to check up. So that definitely shook things up a little bit in your top 5. Yazik, see if he's able to come out of pit road with the lead. Jack drops. He's on his way. Adam Blocker's right behind him, and Adam Blocker is going to get into the second position. And Connor Harrington third. Andrew Kinsella is going to be in fourth. Brian Carey now. Move him up into fifth position. Mike Rigney in sixth. All righty. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break here on GSRC, our first one of the night. We'll be right back.
The Sim Pit is an entertainment channel dedicated to the world of simulated motorsports. The Sim Pit is a leader in providing the sim racing community with news, reviews, interviews, DIY pieces, and instructional videos to make sim racing a better experience for all. Check us out at thesimpit.com or go to YouTube and just search for The Sim Pit.
Welcome back to the Von Hansen's 200 here at Gateway. Pace car getting ready to pull off the track. We're going to go back green flag racing here in the middle of America. Brian Yazik on point. He is away on the gas with that Loud Pedal Motorsports machine, with Adam Blocker now in second and Connor Harrington in third. Brian Carey has now moved up to fifth with Andrew Kinsella in fourth. And yeah, I jumped around a little bit there, but that's okay, because Connor Harrington's going to try to get a run here on Adam Blocker right in his tire tracks. Meanwhile, Brian Yazik is getting away from him.
Yeah, we got a little mix up in the front now. We got Brian Yazik up on the point, and Adam Blocker starting 10th. Done a good job missing some of the big wrecks and moved himself up to second. That's how you win championships. But Connor Harrington holding tight. We got to go back to Dan Guerin, our pole sitter. Got a little bit in a mix-up early on. He had to come in and probably fix his front wing, and he's been back into 13th. So maybe keep an eye on him a little bit later as he moves up the grid. But let's give a shout-out to Brian Yazik doing a good job as Adam Blocker now. Oh, no.
Oh, here and Bob Mikas has put it around just as Sage Karen was coming down pit road to serve a penalty. Firing up the GSRC replay machine here, and we'll get an idea of what happened. Yeah, a little bit of contact. Oh, pancakes that wall. That's a hard hit.
Two guys just going for the same spot there, and one guy doesn't make it, unfortunately.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this may be the last time we get the Von Hansen's onboard camera here today, as that's probably going to be a race ender there for Bob Mikas. Riding on board now, Justin Weaver. See Justin take that look down, and that was about all she wrote there. Doesn't take much to send somebody around here going through 3 and 4. Now, a little bit of a developing story. In that last accident, George Anzaldo was actually caught up in that, but he was good. He was almost half straightaway away from anybody and caught some net code, and I think that damaged his car. He went on pit road to try to fix it and came back out, and I don't think it fixed it enough, and he's back out of the car. So we'll have to see if he's going to be calling it a night. So that comeback drive may be all she wrote for Mr. Anzaldo here for tonight, unfortunately. With that, though, since that accident happened outside your top 5, nobody really came down pit road. Brian Yazik still in the lead, Adam Blocker second, Connor Harrington third, Andrew Kinsella in fourth, and Brian Carey back in fifth. Mike Rigney, though, now moving up into that 6th position here, Richie, and that's going to be big, because with Martinez out, that gives him right now, I think that would put him solidly in the lead of the rookie standings, and with Carey up in 4th, I mean, he could be making a huge run up there in the rookie standings. We were talking about that a few minutes ago.
Yeah, both those guys are sitting basically Rigney's 2nd and Carey 4th, so those guys are going to move up. John Hill was 3rd, but he's having his issues tonight, so those guys will move up and maybe possibly pass Martinez before we go to Iowa.
Yeah, if we can, and I know I'm kind of throwing him for a loop, but Amjad, if we can actually pull up those rookie standings from the beginning of the broadcast, just in case we got anybody joining us here late, and it is kind of the biggest, it's the championship most at play right now, and this was it going into today's race. Now, there's Martinez. He had just gotten up to the lead there like we've been talking about. He is out of this thing. Rigney still in it, still deep in it. John Hill, though, John Hill's had his fair share of problems here tonight. He's down 2 laps, but still circling the racetrack. Carey's still out there. And Jenkins, I actually don't think Jenkins made it here today.
Yeah, I don't think Paul was able to race tonight, so he's not going to be a player.
Yeah.
So really it's going to come down to Rigney and Carey, see what they can do as far as getting past Martinez.
Well, there you go. So those are your rookie standings as we went into tonight. So definitely still a tight battle, still much to be decided. Now, of course, with your driver standings, we don't need to show those because Adam Blocker is just doing his best to run away with it. And historically, Adam hasn't done the greatest here at Gateway. But tonight, I mean, he's got himself a solid top 5 going. But if I remember right, it's been a year, but if I remember right, he had himself a solid race going to last year, and some late race incidents put him back into 11th spot. So I think right now his strategy is just to try to stay up front and stay out of trouble.
I think that's everybody's strategy at the moment. After what we've had, we're kind of thinning the field out a little bit. We have 18 cars on the lead lap. We have a couple cars multiple laps down still running, but really only about I think 22 cars left. Oh, actually, not less than that. 21 cars. About 20. Actually, less.
Yeah, 21. George Anzaldo has pulled back out. 20.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. So George Anzaldo has pulled back out now on the track to see what he has and try to salvage something here out of tonight. Race car at least looks clean once again. But one thing that does look clean is the lights on that Mustang pace car. They are off, and we're going to be going back to green here in just a moment. Recap your top 5. Yazek, Blocker, Harrington, Kinsella, and Carey. That is your top 5 as we're getting ready to put the hammer down once again. Waiting for that pace car to make that turn left. There it goes. It's on pit road. Yazek closing up the gap. He is on the gas. He's going to have himself a good jump over Adam Blocker. Not as good as what he had last restart, but still enough to create a little bit of a gap. Andrew Kinsella already trying to stick his nose out in the clean air, but doesn't do anything with it. Connor Harrington, though, he's going to go way high. Adam Blocker going to go try to go way high on entry of 2 as well. Yazek, though, meanwhile, jumped out to about a 3 or 4 car length lead here. But that's going to close up in a hurry. In fact, already trying to is Adam Blocker starting to sniff that draft. Takes about a full lap for these guys to get up to speed here at Gateway. And now they're screaming 183 miles an hour going into turn 1.
Now it looks like we got about 6-car pack here for the lead, 7 cars. Adam Blocker now trying to get to the lead as he's going to go to the inside of Brian Yazek into turn 3. Brian Yazek looks like it's just kind of going to give it to him. Hopefully everybody settles down a little bit. We get a nice long run as we're only working lap 57 of 160. Connor Harrington staying consistent right up there in the top 3. Andrew Casella doing a good job going from 22nd to 4th. Give a shout out to Brian Carey from 20th to 5th. And we have Adam Blocker now trying to go back to the lead, and Connor Harrington's going to go along with him, I think, but Brian Yazek's going to chop him off and take that position back.
Lots of trading spots up at the front again, but we go a little bit back. Stephen Larkamp trying to make a move now. He's found himself in 7th position. He's trying to get underneath Brian Carey. Not able to do anything there coming out of turn 2, though. Yeah, that might settle down just a touch here for at least a moment. Trying to see where some of our other guys here are through the field right now. Still a definitive, though, second pack, and they are racy. Jason Galvin has fallen to the back of the lead pack there. Dan Guerin, though, I think has found himself. Oh, there's another spin. Carey. And it's somebody's flipping a red and white car. That's Larkamp. We were just on Larkamp. That might be the commentator's curse. Sorry about that, Steven. pull up the GSRC replay machine here.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
It looked like just for some reason, I just don't think Steven anticipated Brian slowing down as much as he did. At least that's the way it looks to me.
Yeah, look.
I think it was just kind of like one of those chain reactions. Andrew came down, which Mike Rigney reacted to, which Kerry reacted to, and Larkham wasn't able to react to in time before it sends himself on a wild ride there in 3 and 4.
Yeah, it looked like everybody tried to take the low line and got that aero wash, had to lift a little bit, and it just kind of was a chain reaction. And unfortunately, one guy gets wadded up because of it.
Well, we'll see if there are, everybody coming down pit road one more time here again. Adam Blocker is out. Yazik is out. Adam Blocker is going to get around him here. So
Tyler Groff and Sage Karam are going to stay out, so they're going to move themselves up to the point. But Adam Blocker is going to come out first as far as who pitted that time. But it'll be third on the track.
Yeah,
Tyler
that's
Groff.
definitely that is a track position play for Sage Karam specifically right now. Try to get himself back up there, but Tyler Graff at the same time, I mean, he's shown some speed, so I mean, he very well could be hanging out there for the leaders whenever this thing goes back to green.
Yeah, it's been 15 laps since the last pit stop, although a bunch of those have been under green, so his tires should be pretty good. He's probably counting on maybe a yellow before they pit again. I'm hoping we see 38 laps before we pit again. I want to see some green flag pit stops. You asked me about this earlier. That pit lane entry is really tricky because you come off the back straightaway so fast, and it's like a one-car lane, and then there's no banking, and so I would like to see these guys navigate that as we get going.
Well, the lights are still on the pace car. We've got Bob Mikas up there ready to talk with us, and Richie, I think I'll let you catch up with Bob.
Bob, you got a copy?
I'm here.
Hey, Bob. Unfortunately, early end to your evening. Just give us a little rundown on how it was going so far.
Well, it was going pretty good this entire race, since I've never finished this race at all so far. I was just hoping to take it nice and calm, just slowly work the way through the traffic, and then it looked like a little bit of netcode got me and Weaver.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of that. I think Anzaldo had some of that as well early on, and unfortunately, that's just kind of part of the gig. Yeah, sometimes I've been in that position many times, Bob. You go, I'm just going to take it easy, just cruise around, and then you get wadded up, and all that work you put into it kind of goes to naught. And unfortunately, that's just part of racing. Definitely want to thank you for the sponsored with the Von Hans's meat machine out there, and sorry we couldn't see you to the end.
Yeah, I wish I could have raced a lot more than I did tonight. This league is a great opportunity for anyone who wants to race and have a fun time with a bunch of good people. And I'm proud to sponsor this race anytime, even well past my time here at Lionheart, which hopefully will never be ending.
Yeah, no, we hope you don't end either. And thank you for that sponsorship very much. And we'll see you next week at Iowa.
Thanks, guys.
That was Bob Mikas there. Not the result that he wanted for tonight. Looks like he's going to settle into 21st position in the final rundown. We'll go wrap up this event later on. Lights are off on the Mustang pace car, though. Tyler Graff has stayed out, so is Sage Karam. So they're going to be 1-2, followed by Adam Blocker, Yazik, and Connor Harrington. That's going to be your top 5. We go back to green here in just a moment. This is Tyler Graff's first restart in front for the night, so it'll be interesting to see what he does. Waiting for that pace car here at this point. It's a hard left. There he goes. Tyler Graff waiting. He is on the accelerator as we are back under green here at Gateway. Everybody looks to have got off clean. good jump there by Tyler Graff, but as we've seen, by the time we come back around, it'll probably have closed up quite a bit. Now, himself and Sage Karam, they're going to have a little bit of lighter fuel than the guys behind them, though. So we'll have to see if that's going to play a role. Maybe they're a little bit quicker here off the bat.
Yeah, Sage Karam looking right on the back of Gearbox, and he's going to try to go to the inside of Tyler Graff. It looks like he's going to take that position. He had a little bit of a rough go as he went to the front last time, kind of pushed some people around a little bit, and that got him the penalty, but now he's back up to the front, and we'll see what he can do. But here comes Tyler Graff right back on him. The draft is strong here, and so you can get those runs, and that's going to bring Brian Yozik and Adam Blocker. And as you said, as we get around lap 2 or 3, it kind of tightens the pack up.
Yeah, and there, here comes Sage Karam back on the inside. Of course, Sage Karam just coming off of some great American rally cross races, as it gets real tight there coming off too. American rallycross races at Mid-Ohio and COTA the last few weeks. So good runs by him. Maybe we'll see more of him there in the ARX. It's a fun series to watch if you've never gone live. It does some great things. I went to COTA last year. Great live show, which hopefully he'll be a part of for a little while. But Connor Harrington on that high side, trying to make that high side work. Tyler Graff has kind of fallen back just a touch. And seeing Adam Blocker kind of losing a few spots back there now.
Everybody's getting shuffled around a little bit, and Adam Blocker was at the lead before that last yellow flag, and now he's been shuffled back to about 4th or 5th. But Brian Yozik now is going to take a peek on the inside of Sage, but he has to get out of it as he gets that little bit of understeer as those tires start to wear. And once again, Sage Karam doing a good job working that outside line like we saw him earlier do.
Now, one guy that I see kind of just relaxing back in the back of this long line of cars is Brian Beard. We want to ride on board with the Sim Experience onboard camera. First, remember, you can use a promo code SimXLion to get 5% off SimVibe software at simexperience.com. And just as I say, he's relaxing back there. Things tighten up for him as he's underneath Dan Guerin now. He kind of lets off a bit, lets Dan Guerin get back in front of him. But Dan Guerin finding himself in the back part of this when he was accustomed to being up front. So do you think it's dirty air? Or do you think at this point it's maybe just doing what Brian Beard's doing, just kind of relaxing back there right now?
Yeah, and actually we kind of forgot about Dan as he was our pole sitter and really strong at the point, and then got that wing damage, had to pit, and now he's still sitting back there in 12th spot. So I think it's a little bit of both. Probably not willing to get too aggressive, but you know, when everybody's running side by side in front of you, there's really nowhere to go. So you sometimes just better off just kind of sit and watch a little bit. Yeah, Sage Karam getting beat up a little bit now. He's fading back to 7th. So I'm not sure if those tires are starting to wear out as these guys are working more laps than everybody else on their tires, as Tyler Graff and Sage Karam both are 25 and 18 laps respectively. We're starting to see maybe a little bit of wear as Brian Yozik, Connor Harrington, Andrew Kinsella, all those guys have kind of gone right on by him.
And of course, Tyler Graff, though, is still holding on to 5th position, but he might even lose that as Mike Rigney looking to the inside of him now, going through 3 and 4. It still seems like Tyler Graff able to hold that outside with that momentum run.
Yeah, I think as the tires wear out, you're going to have to go up a little bit higher, but it's hard to do if somebody's basically on the outside of you. So just finding that position you can run, just kind of ride it out. Although Tyler Graff, he's already working lap 27 since his last stop. Plus we got some pace laps.
Sage Karam is he's just decided, I don't think he's happy with his car. He's coming down pit road. So he is pitting in from, he had fallen to 10th position. And here he comes. See if it's to get tires, maybe hoping maybe it goes green the rest of the way and having some sort of work. He picked up some side pod damage somewhere.
Yeah, he does have a little damage, so it's definitely affecting his car. And we'll see what he does here. I don't see the car going up on the jack, so he might be done for the night. He's not running for the championship or anything, so he might just call it a night. Up front, though, Brian Yozik,
keep an eye on him.
Battling up.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Up front right now, still tight battle here as Yozik has resumed the lead. Connor Harrington giving him all the fight he can, though. Andrew Kinsella getting back into it. Adam Blocker still up there, and Tyler Graff still holding strong.
Yeah, real impressive with Andrew Kinsella. He didn't qualify really at all, well at all, at 22nd spot, but he took a chance on pitting early, and that really put him on the cycle of everybody else and got him track position. Now he's able to hang out there in that third position. Connor Harrington going to the inside of Yazik. So give that lead back to Connor Harrington.
Lots of lead changes here tonight in the Von Hansen's 200 here at Gateway. And really so far about what I expected with that is the lead pack. We also haven't had a green flag run long enough for the lead pack to really kind of separate themselves out. But we are seeing a definitive line right now. When you get to about 12th position, 13th, 14th, and 15th, that being Brandt, Galvin, and Workman, seem to be falling off.
Yeah, and I was watching Dan Guerin as well, and Justin Weaver, or Dan Guerin, sorry, and Brian Beard. They've kind of dropped off as well. So I think they're kind of backing off and just kind of letting these guys fight it out because they're fighting pretty hard up front. So, all the way up to, looks like Justin Weaver in 10th spot. Those guys are fighting it out, and then there's a space in between them to Dan Garrett and Brian Beard. So I think we're seeing the race settle down a little bit. Some of these guys playing a little bit more of a waiting game. We do have a long ways to go as we're just crossing halfway.
And with halfway, let me throw some stats at you here. This is the fourth time Lionheart has ran Gateway. There have been 4 different winners here at Gateway, that being Corey Connor, Dan Guerin, Joe Branch, and Chris Stouffer. Branch is not here tonight, neither is Corey Connor. So Dan Guerin and Chris Stouffer are the only ones that could possibly repeat a previous win here at Gateway. And, of course, Chris Stouffer, that chance went away with his accident earlier on. So Dan Guerin, the only one left. No driver, though, has ever won from the pole. So that doesn't work in Dan Guerin's favor. The biggest one that I wanted to point out here, Richie, is the most lead changes ever at Gateway was a couple of years ago. We had 40 lead changes here. And I got to think that we might give that a run for its money here today.
Yeah, I think so. I was going to say we got to be pretty close to at least half that at this moment because even though we've had multiple leaders, but they're going back and forth. So right now, Brian Yazik's able to hold steady as these tires wear out, but we have had a ton of lead changes.
Right now, Yazik probably seems the most confident out in that lead. We do got a nice little bit of a longer run going now. It just doesn't seem like Connor Harrington has anything here for the moment. But with that draft, it's still getting close enough that he's slowing him down at quarter entry, which in turn is slowing down Kinsella and Blocker. So starting to see some of those differing lines start to develop because of that, and also because of the difference in tire wear.
Yeah, I'd like to see Connor Harrington maybe move up a groove instead of following him right into the corner. But, he might be just trying to just run along, maybe save some fuel. Not really worried about the lead right now. It's kind of settling down. Working lap 23 of the last run. So probably another 15 to 20 laps. If we can go, we're going to get some green flag stops.
I think through 1 and 2 that last time by Brian Yazik took your advice that you had there for Connor Harrington, went up a little bit, see if he does the same thing this time by. Yeah, he's going to take it to about a half lane up from the bottom. Connor Harrington's still in his tire track, so catching an air wash, slowing him down just a little bit. It has a big run here going through 3 and 4. He's going to stay behind him. Trying to maybe work that high side now, see if maybe he can get something here going down the front straightaway. He looks like he might just decide to stay behind him.
Yeah, it looks like he's able to get a run, but he's not willing to stick his nose in there going into 1, so he's just kind of cruising around and maybe saving a little bit fuel. Like I say, they probably calculated themselves out to the end of the race. And we've had a lot of yellows, but traditionally when that happens, we tend to go a lot of green flag laps after that.
Which does seem to be the case. I don't see anybody, they're running close together, but I don't see anybody really stepping out of line right now. just trying to tick off laps here at Gateway under green flag conditions. Now working lap 88 of 160 here for tonight, past halfway. Been an eventful race here so far. If you're just joining us, we've got 15 cars left on the lead lap, and I want to say only 17 that are still actually out there turning laps here at this point. A few incidents have occurred, but right now that top 5 is the most solid and the most consistent it's been here all night. Now Tyler Graff, though, he's going to be the first one out of this group to have to pit, and he might be approaching his pit window here.
Yeah, Tyler Graff has worked 43 laps since he pitted last. Obviously, there was some bunch of yellow flags in there, so he's got to be getting close. So we'll kind of keep an eye on him. Right now, Connor Harrington trying to go to the outside, working the outside of Brian Yazik, not able to make it or not willing to make it, just kind of hassling Brian a little bit.
We need to get a message to Connor Harrington that we're kind of wanting to maybe set a new record here as far as lead changes. Go up there and hassle him a little bit more. And it's Yazik. We don't mind if you hassle Yazik. Just throwing that out there. But right now, Yazik does look very strong in that Loud Pedal Motorsports HPP simulations machine. But here comes Andrew Kinsella. Andrew Kinsella's getting a message. And I think in turn, Connor Harrington is starting to as well. Connor Harrington has a solid look on the outside for the lead, so he was able to carry that momentum. Oh! I don't think Yazik thought he was that close, and that's going to cost him 2 spots here. Yazik now back to third as Andrew Kinsella is on the outside of him through 3 and 4. Seeing a couple of guys try to come down pit road. That's Tyler Graff and Tony Schowen as they are now going to make their stops. I think Tyler Graff, I saw him smoke the brakes just a touch. That is gonna. But he looks like he was able to get down there below the speed limit. Sage Karam fans, he has decided to call it a night after falling down for 2 laps there. Schowen and Graff are now in their spots as Andrew Kinsella is going to take over point.
Not for very long.
Yeah, Connor Harrington is not letting him go for sure. And all that's done is allow Yazik and Adam Blocker to get back into this fight here again.
Yeah, it's starting to heat up a little bit as people are starting to work that outside lane. We will be getting close to pit stop soon. So working lap 33, 34, probably about another 7 to 8 laps. We should see these guys starting to pit.
Well, since things have calmed down here a little bit, we're going to go ahead and take a chance. Expect a few passes for the lead still. We'll take a chance to actually talk to Brian Carey. Brian is up there. He's been waiting patiently for things to calm down so we can bring him down here and talk to him. Brian, not exactly the ending of the day that you wanted, but you had yourself a pretty good run going while it lasted.
Yeah, no, it was feeling pretty good out there. I mean, obviously I didn't want to end it up backwards and, in pieces, but positives are I was, moving forward kind of when I needed to, staying with leaders and stuff. So, I mean, I'm happy about that, but again, it does suck to get turned like that.
Yeah, it always does, but at the same time, you were starting to make your presence known in the rookie of the year running. We still got a number of races to go as we're watching Brian Yazik decide that he's going to come down pit road here. But you still are going to be in contention. What's your strongest race out of the next couple?
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to miss Iowa and then New Hampshire in a couple weeks. Those 2 big races I'm going to be dropping points there, but that aside, Road America, honestly, will probably be my best. Like, I'm just starting to figure out this oval thing. It's been a while since I've done the ovals on this service. Since the IR05. So this is kind of my first oval run here, but I'm feeling pretty confident about Road America. But it's a strong field, so even a good run there could, say qualify me 10th, and then from there it's kind of a crapshoot anyway. So, Road America is my favorite, but going forward, we'll see.
All right, well, Brian, thanks for stopping by, and I'm sad that you got to miss the next couple, but we'll see you again here pretty soon.
Yeah, it sounds good. Cheering on my adrenaline guys. Looks like they're doing well right now, so I'll catch you guys later.
All All right. Have a good night, Brian. Once again, thanks for stopping by. Yazik is going to blend back in with Showen and Tyler Graff. Things got a little close there for a moment, so I called attention to it. So
Connor
looks like they
Harrington's
found
in.
each other in a pack. Connor Harrington is, I think, kind of got the message. Here, I think you hit the nail on the head, Richie. Now that these guys kind of feeling out that we're going green here, I think they're starting to play this thing backwards.
Yeah, Connor Harrington's coming in, and I noticed that Brian Yazik, he lost about a lap and a half for that pit stop. And the longer these guys stay out, and here comes Andrew Kinsella. He's going to pit. He's going to leave Adam Blocker out there to take the lead. So it'll be interesting to see where Connor Harrington comes out. He comes into the box, and getting a good stop here is going to matter because half a second might be, a half a straightaway here difference. And as we get closer to the end, if we go green all the way to the end, this is going to be a big deal. So Connor Harrington's coming out of pit lane. Where is Brian Yazik? He's going by him.
Ooh, things got real interesting there for a moment. I don't know if Chris, a little bit of contact there. I think some miscommunication between Galvin Lanini and Justin Weaver coming onto pit road. A little bit of contact. I think everybody got away okay.
So Connor Harrington came out in front of Brian Yazik, but he didn't have the pace, and Tyler Graff also got by him as one of our early pit stop takers. So Brian Yazik, out of everybody's in the lead with Graff and Connor Harrington. Andrew Kinsella.
Actually, it's going to be Tony Showen in front of Brian Yazik whenever things cycle around. So Yazik trying to make a move on him right now. But you see Adam Blocker coming out of pit road. There those guys go on the inside. Adam Blocker is going to get past quite a fast rate, too. I think he's going to be able to latch onto the draft here, but that's your fight for the lead right now. I hadn't talked too much about it, but there's Tony Showen going out with Yazik, Graff, and Connor Harrington.
Yeah, well, it's just as tricky coming out of pit lane. You can't really get on it too hard. I spun out a couple of times in practice just coming out too fast, so it takes a while to get back up to speed. So, yeah, they just kind of swallowed Adam Blocker up and put Tony Showen out in the point. He's doing a good job fighting off Brian Yazik. We haven't talked about him at all, so nice job working that pit stop strategy and holding his spot.
Yeah, he's doing a good job of it here so far. This is the most intense fighting for the lead that we've seen here in about the last 20 laps, as things have now fully cycled. So you are seeing them into P1, P2, and the like. But at the end of those pit stops, especially with the kind of drop off there that happened and some of the miscommunication, Chris Lanini has fallen down a lap, and Jason Galvin is only about a straightaway ahead of the leaders. They're coming out of 2. He's going into 3. So got to be careful there that he doesn't fall a lap down. I think one person right now on this racetrack wants caution. That's probably going to be Jason Galvin. One guy that does not, I would have to say, is going to be a couple of guys. It's Yazik, Showen, and Graff. They're doing great out there right now. They came in, Showen and Graff, I think it was about 6 or 7 laps earlier than the rest of the field.
Yeah, those two guys are working lap 14 as Brian's working lap 9 and Connor Harrington's working lap 6. So just a little bit off. We still have, looks like about 53 laps to go. I'm not going to do any math just yet, but I'm sure these guys are starting to count the pit stops backwards a little bit as we get some nice green flag running in as everybody's kind of thinned out and settled down a little bit.
Well, that large pack that we had up front has now turned into a 6-car pack, that being Yazik, Harrington, Showen, Graff, Blocker, and Kinsella. Kinsella taking up the rear on that. You have to go about an hour 2 seconds back before we find Justin Weaver leading that second pack right now. So exactly what we expected. We had green flag pit stops. Things kind of broke up a little bit. And lost Kinsella, though. Kinsella's back. Kinsella blinking a little bit right there.
So I'm doing the math right now. We've got 50 laps to go. These guys are right on the cusp of making it for one more stop. And I'm talking about Showen and Graff. The other guys have some buffer, especially Harrington and Blocker. Yazik should be okay, but it's going to be interesting seeing if Schoen and Graf can make it on one more stop. So as we go greens the whole way, those are the guys to kind of key up and see if they can save enough fuel to make up a lap or two.
Now, will these guys have to take, I mean, particularly Graf and Schoen, I'm pretty sure they're going to have to take full fuel when they come down pit road, which they might as well take tires at that point. But some of the guys that can stretch it a little bit further, would there be a point to maybe not taking tires and seeing how that plays out for you? Or, would you still take tires and fuel?
I think you take tires. It doesn't take very long to take tires. I mean, unless you only need a couple of gallons, they're going to need more than that. They're not going to need a full tank, but definitely take tires. As we can see, unfortunately, when you don't take tires, you're going to save the track position, but you don't have the grip to make the passes. So I think sometimes you're just better off taking them.
And there you go. We're watching the battle for 10th now. That's Mike Rigney, Brian Beard, Bart Workman back there as well. We can actually ride on board Brian Beard with the sim experience onboard camera again. I will be honest, it has not been a good night for our onboard camera carriers except for Brian Beard. Brian Beard's still out there running strong in 11th position in that fight with Rigney, Workman, and actually Brent back there as well still. So trying to work together and maybe trying to catch that second smaller pack of Cone and Weaver. They're about 4 seconds up on him here at this point. Back up front, kind of broken up into small little 2-car packs as you do have your leader, leader Yazik and Harrington, and then behind them you still have Schoen and Blocker, and then Blocker has Kinsella right there, and then Tyler Graf has moved into 6th and is right at the tail end of that pack. Everybody's still in the draft of one another. Connor Harrington, though, has a head full of steam. It just doesn't seem like he wants to make a move on Yazik here at this point.
No, I don't think he does. And to make that point, what he did last time, he was able to go 3 laps farther than Brian Yazik. So, even though it's a couple of gallons, that makes a difference on the track position. So he's probably there just going, I'm just going to ride along, save some fuel. Who cares if I lead right now? All that matters is who's leading at the very end.
Well, and right now, it very well could come down to a last round of green flag pit stops, which we might only be about 14 to 20 laps away. You need to hit your marks. You need to be coming down just right into that pit road entry on the backstretch. You need to make sure that you don't go too far forward or too far back into the pit stall. When you have the race on the line, that's going to change dynamics. And we got 6 guys up at the front right now where slightest little mistake could be costly. So definitely still plenty of excitement to come here at the Von Hansen's 200 at Gateway Raceway. And lap 118 now of 160. Yazik in the lead. Connor Harrington in second. Tony Schoen in third, fighting off Adam Blocker in fourth. Edgar Kinsella 5th. Graf in 6th. Mark Cohn in 7th, followed by Justin Weaver, Mike Rigney 9th, and Brian Beard in 10th. That's your top 10 out there right now. And once again, with some of the action that we had earlier on, still only 14 cars on the lead lap, and that might change soon as that lead pack has caught up to Jason Galvin. He's only about 100 yards in front of him now.
Yeah, we got to get to about lap 122 to make it on one more stop. I think everybody's going to do it, obviously, but I think the difference is going to be who has to take the most fuel and who has to take the least fuel.
Going back to P3 now and looking at that fight, that is Adam Blocker, Tony Schoen, and Andrew Kinsella still kind of taking up the back of that pack. Tyler Graf is still back there in 6th position, still hanging on to the draft, but he is not a play in this battle right now. Look at Tony Schoen. Tony Schoen's really started trying to make that high line work here the last little bit. He's Jason Galvin now being passed by your lead cars, so that will now make 13 vehicles on the lead lap, but those 13 cars are within about 9 seconds of each other here as Tony Schoen starting to try to get a little bit of a run now on Connor Harrington.
Yeah, these guys are all kind of lined up a little bit. Nobody's really battling too hard. 13 cars on the lead lap. I'd like to point out that Dan Garrett is the last car in the lead lap, so I don't know if he's still kind of playing it cool or if he just generally doesn't have the speed to get there.
I would
He
venture
was
a
our
guess
leader.
that maybe he just simply lost a draft and lost any help there on that last restart. And it's hard to do that here. And he is still running a little bit slower than your leaders. And I think it's just kind of added up. But he's one guy right now that would not mind seeing a caution, I think.
No, I think he'd love to see a caution and everybody kind of pit and just pack it all back up. I want to see it go green the whole way. I like those green flag pit stops. I like the strategy that plays into it.
And at least right now, you might get just as close of a finish if you have a caution here in the next little bit as opposed to not, because you still throw a blanket over top of your top 5. Tyler Graff looks like he's starting to lose touch with Andrew Kinsella back there. So I don't want to say we're going to count him out, but the picture not looking as good for Tyler Graff as he's also expending more fuel back there, where Tony Schowen, on the other hand, on the same pit cycle as him, has been able to save a little bit more in the middle of that pack right now. Tony Schowen, I think he might be the dark horse here.
Oh, he's coming in. Schowen's coming in.
And Graff is going to go ahead and stay out. So that might be shaking things up a little bit, but that does put him in the pit window where he can make it the rest of the way from here.
He definitely can make it the rest of the way, but these guys here can go another 8 laps, 9 laps, 10 laps, and they just don't have to take as much fuel. So when he cycles out, he's going to be farther in the pack. As Adam Blocker is going to try to push his way up to second spot. We kind of saw this last time as we got closer to the end of the pit cycle. He started pushing his way back to the front, and he's going to take that spot away from Connor Harrington.
This would be a good time to maybe try a thing or two and see how hard it is to get up to the front, as opposed to wait until the last couple of laps and not knowing how things are going to feel with your car. So there goes Adam and Tyler Graff pitting behind them. And if things hold, Brian Yazik might be looking to come in here in the next couple of laps as well. I think he'd be the next one to really see. And I think once he comes down, I think the rest of the leaders probably will as well. He's fighting back to the inside now of Adam Blocker. Adam Blocker getting credit for another lead change. And here comes Connor Harrington on the outside of Yazik. In fact, Adam Blocker right now trying to play both lanes, maybe give a little bit of arrow push to both of those guys. It really didn't work out well in his favor because Yazik able to gain on him a little bit. In fact, Connor Harrington had a good run, has to get out of the gas to keep from running into the back of him. And here comes Andrew Kinsella now to try to make a play on this.
Yeah,
here comes Yazik.
Yeah, he's struggling a little bit.
Oh, I thought for sure he was going to be coming down pit road there with the way he made that move to the inside.
He is struggling a little bit. He's got the most laps on his tires, and I will say Adam Blocker's got the least laps on his tires. So Brian's trying to hang in there as long as possible in case the yellow comes out, but he's going to be definitely looking to pit lane in the next couple of laps.
Just look
one more lap
where 3 of your top 6 started outside of the top 10, and 2 of them started outside of the top 20. Andrew Kinsella started this race in 22nd. Justin Weaver now is in 5th with the pit cycles going on right now in 24th. So having great runs for those guys here this evening as we're ticking away. In fact, here comes Yazik now, making that hard turn down pit road. He's on the pit road entry. We're going to have to see where he comes out in relation to Schowen and Graff in just a moment. Connor Harrington, though, all over the back of Adam Blocker. Now, once again, Connor Harrington's just content to run right up under the rear wing of whoever's leading the race.
Yeah, he's trying to save as much fuel as possible, try to come in with Adam Blocker, and then it'll be a straight fight. 3 cars left up front here as far as the leaders go in the pit cycle. Adam Blocker working lap 30, 32 for Connor Harrington, Andrew Kinsella for 32. So those 2 guys will be coming in soon. It'll be interesting where Brian Yazik comes out, like you said, as opposed to Schowen. He's coming out of the pit lane right now. And Schowen's coming around 2 and 2. Schowen's going to get the run on him and go right on by.
And Tyler, he's going to have to hold off Tyler Graff here, too. Now, interesting to note, Tyler Graff did latch on to Dan Guerin, so that probably helped him out just a touch. Probably also helps out Dan Guerin just a touch as well. As now Tyler Graff right underneath the rear wing there of Brian Yazik. Who
Harrington's in.
There we go. So I think the rest of the guys saw that, figured we got to start doing something. So here comes Connor Harrington. He's coming down, and that leaves Adam Blocker and Andrew Kinsella out there. I don't think Justin Weaver has come down pit road yet.
You know, we got a couple guys, Rigney, Beard, Workman, Brandt. Those guys have not come in yet either. Here comes Adam Blocker.
Looking at the pit stop comparison between Connor Harrington and Tony Schowen. Connor Harrington in his box. There it is. Jack's down 2/10 slower than Tony Schowen on his stop, but almost 6/10 faster as far as overall time spent in pit lane with the, he spins it on the, big mistake from Connor Harrington. Little too torquey. That's going to bring out the yellow flag.
And that's what I was talking about. I had that happen to me a couple of times, so it's really tricky to get up to speed. Just got a little aggressive. He's going to be a lap down here, but the yellow flag definitely helps out. And that's going to help out all these guys who did not pit. Rigney, Blocker, Kinsella, well, the Blocker pitted. Kinsella, Brandt, Workman, Beard, and Weaver.
And the one person that pitted came down pit road about 20 seconds too late, Dan Guerin, who really would have benefited from that. But you're going to have a lot of wave arounds here in just a few minutes, as we have a bunch of cars that ended up being a lap down. Justin Weaver coming down pit road. Adam Blocker, interestingly enough, staying out there.
Yeah, he was in the pit lane, and he was coming out just as that happened. So he's going to come out. I don't think he's going to be the leader.
Yeah, we got to see how things shake out, because I don't think we're looking at a situation yet. I'm trying to see, are we going to see the likes of Yazik and Graff and Harrington? Well, obviously Harrington might be, but maybe pinned a lap down here.
Yeah, I mean, if Adam Blocker on my board right now, he's not a lap down, so he should be the leader if all those other guys pitted in front of him, and that is going to block out Yazik and Groff and Cohn and Harrington. We'll see how they come around here on the next lap, see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, waiting for timing and scoring to catch up here, which is not unusual in these type of situations. Right now on our GSRC board, you can see that Weaver and Beard, Workman, Brandt, Kinsella is your top 5. And then you have Adam Blocker right now, at least on the board there. Looks like he's being scored is on the tail end of the lead lap. So waiting to see how things play out here as they come across the start-finish line and the official timing and scoring catches up. So indeed, okay, so everybody here is on the tail end of the last lap. Yazik was able to get around. So everybody will get the wave around the pace car, and we'll go back to having 13 cars on the lead lap once everything is said and done. First car a lap down will be Jason Galvin. So either way, though, this does shake up that top part of the field. So we could be looking at a very interesting last 21 laps here, Richie.
Oh, yeah. We got some heavy hitters that are going to be trying to make their way up really quickly. Some guys that have not been up there yet are now going to find themselves in the lead with 20 laps to go, about 19 laps to go when we go to green. So it's definitely going to get exciting here. We got Blocker, Kinsella, Schowen, Yazik, Harrington. All those guys were leading early on, so they're going to try to bully their way up to the front as we get closer to the end.
Well, sit back, because action may not be done just yet. We'll see if the lights go off on the pace car this time by. I believe they should. Adam Blocker already itching to get that wave around and start hammering down to get around that Mustang pace car. and we'll get this field sorted out. There aren't that many lap cars that are actually out there still turning laps, so the guys that are getting the wave around here won't have that much in the way of lap traffic to try to fight through as Dan Guerin makes his way. But Justin Weaver getting credited with leading these laps, and Brian Beard, as far up as he's been the entire race, now up in second position. Bart Workman now in third, and James Brandt in fourth. So for the Skid Row Motorsports machines there, that's pretty good for them right now compared to where they were a little while ago, second, third, and fourth.
Yeah, just as they planned it out, right? Just hang around and get that yellow and go right to the front.
Yes, exactly, as they've planned it. And so we'll see what Justin... Now, I'm very interested to see what these guys have got here coming back. I think one of the more interesting guys I'm going to be keeping my eye on that's made some great moves is going to be Brian Yazek trying to come up through the field. But we're going to find out here now. Green flag back out. Justin Weaver on the gas. He's got a good jump on the likes of Brian Beard and Bart Workman. The lap cars are staying to the inside there against the pit wall, but already a very large gap opening up between groups so that here in the top 10. Those guys are going to have to fight here the last little bit to try to get back up there. Justin Weaver, though, right now in first position. Brian Beard running a slightly different line. Go ahead.
I was going to say it's a great opportunity for those four guys to finish up front when they really weren't up front earlier. Andrew Kinsella is really the first player that can get back up there that was up there earlier, and he's got a little bit of space to make up. We only got 18 laps to go, and it's not about catching them. You still have to get around them, and those three guys working with the same team are probably going to make themselves really wide.
They're doing a good job of that right now. In fact, they might try to gang up here on Justin Weaver as they start actually lifting off the gas. That's going to allow Andrew Kinsella back into this here.
Yeah, what they don't want to do is lift off enough and bring that other pack of Blocker, Rigney, Shawan, Yazek, Groff, and Harrington, because they are definitely strong up front. Justin Weaver doing a good job running that bottom line. Everybody's got fresh tires at the moment, so that's not an issue. And let's get those guys on. I think it's Skidmark Motorsports. Oh, here comes Andrew Kinsella right to the bottom. He's going to take one of those spots away from James Brandt.
Yeah, I did say Skid Row earlier, didn't I? I'm going to start singing 18 in Life here any moment now.
Yeah, Andrew Kinsella, I thought he had that position, but he was not able to hold that spot. And I was going to say, if I was those guys, I would just fan out wide and just block the whole thing out.
Yeah, and he tried to take a 2-for-1 right there, going through 1 and 2, and that's actually going to cost him a little bit as he's going to fall back here as he was able to charge back up here through 3 and 4 as Workman slides down the inside. Brian Beard trying to take that middle line, and Andrew Kinsella knows the time is on the line. They're going to go 3 wide here, first 3 wide action of the night. They're entering 1, it gets sorted out pretty quick.
Yeah, and he gets down up on that curb on the bottom. He had to get out of it. And he's not able to keep that momentum, so he's trying hard. He has gotten 1 spot, but now he's got to try to get around Bart Workman. And he's not able to hold that bottom line. That outside line is still working really well for those guys.
Now, those guys in that second pack are beginning to catch the lead pack. It's going to be a question of how fast they're going to catch him here at this point, if there's enough time left in this race. We're coming down to about 12, 13 laps to go here. Justin Weaver is riding that middle line, slowing up that middle line. That's going to allow Andrew Kinsella to sneak through on the bottom, and he's going to have a charge here going down to turn 1. He's getting aggressive. He knows that second pack is coming, and they're coming hard. Justin Weaver now have to fight him off on the outside. He can't quite do it. Andrew Kinsella edges a nose out there, coming out of 1 and 2, but by the time they get to 3 and 4, Justin Weaver was back in the lead. That's going to slot out here as they go through 3 and 4. Andrew Kinsella is going to take sole possession of P1 as they cross the start-finish line. He gets credit for a lap led.
Yeah, I think you probably nailed it on the head there. He saw that other pack coming, and he's like, it's go time. I got to get through these guys, because his real challenger, I mean, these guys are doing a good job, but really Adam Blocker's leading that pack. and he knows that they can be strong. Although, man, Brian Beard's doing a great job here. He's got a good run on Andrew Kinsella. See if he can get up there and make a move. Not quite there. Justin Weaver's starting to fall back. He's gone all the way back behind that group, and now he's got to worry about that other pack.
At this point, though, I think it's safe to say that Lionheart is going to have, for 5 different races at Gateway, they're going to have 5 different winners. Who's going to be a first-time winner at Gateway in the Lionheart IndyCar Series? You're going to find out here in 10 laps. 10 to go now on the board. I'm telling you, Richie, that second pack is catching him. I just don't think they're catching him fast enough.
No, they're not catching him. In fact, they lost some time that last time out because I was watching it. It was 2 seconds a little while ago, and now it's a little over 2.2 seconds, roughly, to Justin Weaver. So they're racing hard back there. You got Yazik and Adam Blocker going side by side, so they're not helping each other out. So they're just kind of settled in to race for that 6th spot, sorry. Meanwhile, Andrew Kinsella's gapping Ryan a little bit there, but either way, those 3 guys from Skidmark Motorsports are doing a great job. I don't think they expected this type of result. We've got 9 to go, and I don't think that other pack's going to catch them. So unless we get a yellow, this is going to be our group of guys racing for the win.
Andrew Kinsella started this race in 22nd. Brian Beard started in 9th. Bart Workman started in 19th. James Brandt in 29th, and Justin Weaver in 24th. So these guys came from a long way back to get up into the spots they are. And let's not forget the points haul that Skidmark Black is going to bring in. Of course, that's a Beard and Brandt are on Skidmark Black, and they're going to have themselves a great day here for today. And they were locked into a battle for 5th in that point standings, in the team point standings. So that's going to help solidify that position and maybe try to make a run on Adrenaline Motorsports Black, who have not had the best of days out there. So we'll see how that all plays out when they release the point standings later. But right now, with 6 laps to go, Andrew Kinsella has been able to take charge here in the late stages of this race, with Brian Beard just kind of hanging back there, not quite able to do anything here just yet, or maybe he's just trying to set up a run. One thing to note, Justin Weaver has caught back up to the back wing now of James Brandt, giving him a run for his money. Could Justin Weaver maybe make a late play here?
Going back to the second pack, I was just watching, man, Yazik and Adam Blocker are running hard. Adam Blocker got the better of him, but here comes Connor Harrington, who caused that last yellow flag and kind of put him in that position, and he's going to go back to the front of this group. If you're watching this group only, you think they're racing for the win, but they are not. They are racing for 6th position. And Connor Harrington, Adam Blocker, Yazik, Mike Rigney, Groff, all doing a great job running, but they have lost touch with that lead group as they're 2.8 seconds back, and we have 4 to go.
Yeah, getting ready to have 3 to go. Andrew Kinsella coming down the front straightaway. I think Brian Beard starting to feel the pressure and knowing that he needs to do something. A yellow now would end it. Definitely don't want to see that, as those Skidmark machines are just kind of running. They're doing what they should have done a little while ago, fanning out. Here is maybe something going on. Connor Harrington back there. Yazik. Adam Blocker falling back a little bit. 2 to go now. Be focusing out here on the leaders, even though that second pack getting real racy. We'll let you know if anything happens back there. Andrew Kinsella, though, running a perfect line, and I think Brian Beard starting to feel the effects of that arrow push. He can't get close to him, but he's keeping his teammates close. Bart Workman maybe wants to get a second spot here. They'll be looking maybe if he tries to make a late move on his teammate. So right now, coming across the line, Kinsella, Beard, Workman, Brandt, and Weaver. That's your top 5. Throw a blanket over them. Andrew Kinsella working his way through 1 and 2. He's going to drift up high just a little bit. That's not going to be enough to kill his momentum. He's got a pretty good couple of tenths of a second lead now on Brian Beard. Brian Beard's going to be trying to get a good run here coming down the front straightaway. It's going to be too little too late. Give the Van Hansens 200 to Andrew Kinsella. Brian Beard second. Workman third, James Brandt fourth, Justin Weaver in 5th position. In that second pack, Mike Rigney ended up coming home in 7th, just kind of working through there. But great run out there today for all the Lionheart guys, as 13 cars end up finishing on the lead lap here for tonight. Hey, when we come back here in a few minutes, we're going to take a look at that final rundown. We'll talk to your podium. Andrew Kinsella coming away with the win here tonight at Gateway.
The Sim Pit is an entertainment channel dedicated to the world of simulated motorsports. The Sim Pit is a leader in providing the sim racing community with news, reviews, interviews, DIY pieces, and instructional videos to make sim racing a better experience for all. Check us out at thesimpit.com or go to YouTube and just search for The Sim Pit.
It was an eventful Vaughn Hansen's 200 here at Gateway tonight, and, well, we've got a lot to talk about on the Plasma Tracks Victory Lane post-race show tonight. If you're struggling to find something for the person who has everything, do I have the website for you? Plasma-Tracks.com not only produces original racetrack wall art, motorsports trophies, home decor, and motorsports fabrication are also available. Words cannot do justice to the uniqueness of their products. The only way to fully appreciate their artwork is to see it for yourself, but be warned, one visit, the next thing you know, you'll be trying to convince your spouse that you need a Plasma Track wall art hanging in your home. See it all, plasma-tracks.com. And remember to use the promo code LRS2019 to get 25% off. Hey, that 25% adds up. Now let's go ahead and bring you the Sim Pit finishing order for tonight. And once again, eventful race. And if you would have asked me at the beginning of this race if we'd have the top 5 that we do, I'd have told you no, we won't. But Andrew Kinsella charging through the field here, a pit stop that kind of got him off cycle a little bit to help get the track position he needed. He started this thing in 22nd position. He comes away with the win tonight. Brian Beard, with that sim experience onboard camera, carrying him all the way to second place. Bart Wortman, his teammate, along with James Brandt, they're all skid mark teammates. Justin Weaver back there in 5th position. And then you got the guys that kind of got caught out by that last caution in the middle of the pit cycle. Connor Harrington coming home in 6th position, Mike Rigney in 7th, Tyler Graff in 8th, Ryan Yazik in 9th, and Mark Cohn in 10th.
Yeah, coming back and finishing in 11th is going to be Adam Blocker. He got caught out in that situation as well. Our pole sitter, Dan Guerin, kind of ran up front, kind of mysteriously fell back, had some issues and had to fix a car, but never was quite right after that, finishing 12th. 13th is going to be Tony Schoen, 14th, and this is Jason Galvin, is going to be 14th. He's first car lap down. 2 laps down will be Chris Leanini in 15th, and then 6 laps down in John Hill. The rest of these cars did not finish the race, so Sage Kerman 17th, Stephen Larkamp in 18th, Ryan Carey 19th, and George Anzaldo in 20th. Adam?
Yeah, and 21st here tonight ran out. By the way, Dan Guerin, Adam Blocker finishing in 11th, the same spot he finished in last season. Bob Mikus in 21st, Chris Stouffer 22nd. He was last year's winner, could not get it done here tonight with that accident they had. 23rd, Ron Hacker, 24th, Damon Martinez, also caught up in an accident. Isaiah Dupre, Big Joe Hassert, 26th, 27th, Joe Flanagan, 28th, Dustin Wardlow, 29th belongs to Brandon Lumpkiman, and that is going to round out the field here tonight. And we'll go ahead and bring in Andrew Kinsella. Andrew, man, great run out there here tonight. A little bit of pit stop strategy for the track position, and then you were just up there for the rest of the time.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Really, for me, the name of the game was patience. Had to remind myself over and over again, just stay patient. I used the fuel strategy after I spun on my second lap in qualifying, so I was back in 20 seconds. So I just knew name of the game would be use some strategy, get up front, and then fuel save from there. And I spent most of the first 120 laps of the race just fuel saving, and then nearly got caught by that caution, but managed to just stay on the lead lap. Had an EOL, but with the wave around, I was still 5th, just with the way the pit stops worked out, and then it was go time from there.
Well, he certainly went at that point. What were you thinking when that last caution came out, and kind of split everybody up a little bit?
Originally, I was thinking I wish I had been about 10 meters further up, because I would have been on pit lane and been able to take service and then been comfortably in the lead. But no, I was basically just thinking once I figured out when or where I was going to fall in line with that EOL and making sure that I didn't get a further penalty, basically, I just I knew that we had a good car, and I knew that I could get up there and race with them. I'd just been saving my stuff all night for this. And after that, once I got to the front, it was just basically run as wide a line as possible through 1 and 2, and just try and give them as much dirty air and not let them get a run on me. Because I knew if they got a big run on me, that they could probably freight train me 1, 2, 3 with the 3 skid mark cars. But my goal was basically just to never let them get that run, and I managed to hold them off at the end.
One last question for you. Of course, you came into tonight third. You still had a shot at trying to get to second in the point standings here over the next few weeks. Out of the remaining part of the schedule, what would you say is going to be your strongest track?
It's probably for me a toss up between next week at Iowa and then Fontana. I'd say I'm good at the drafting tracks, but I'm also good at the short tracks. So this last part of the schedule I think should be good for me, barring Laguna Seca. But other than that, I think I should be on my way to doing well, and it's just a matter of putting myself in front of Dan every week, and we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, hey, Andrew, thanks for stopping by. Great run tonight by you and the rest of the Adrenaline Motorsports team, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks.
Congratulations once again to Andrew Kinsella coming down with that win here tonight. Big win. But you know what? It was also a big second place finish tonight by Brian Beard, and Richie's going to catch up with him.
Well, Brian, I would have to lie if I said at the beginning of the race that I thought this was going to be the top three. I'm sure maybe you're a little surprised. You did qualify ninth, but you kind of went back in the pack, maybe staying safe, and then all of a sudden, boom, here you guys are. Tell us a little about it.
Yeah, that was kind of the plan. We discussed it as a team and decided to kind of draw back a little bit and stay away from all the wrecks and just kind of save fuel. Then we kind of had a lap where we were like, okay, it's go time. And we stuck to that and didn't waver from it, and actually worked out.
No, it looked really cool with all three of you guys running there. I was hoping you'd just fan out and just make it three wide and make it impossible for Andrew to get by, but he was running strong. But you guys really ran good as a team and stayed true at the end. And I have to say that you're carrying one of our onboard cameras here as well, the Sim Experience camera, and usually that's a kiss of death carrying those cameras, and you're able to come through and finish second. So that was really nicely done. No, it was good to see you guys up there.
Yeah, it worked out. We had great teamwork tonight, and I wish I had something for Andrew there at the end, but my front went away there towards the end, and I just, if I'd have tried to go underneath him in 1 and 2, I would have just washed up, and so I was trying to get a good exit out of 2 and maybe get him in 3 and 4, but and the air wash was kind of brutal there at the end, so I just couldn't make it happen. But I'm satisfied with where we finished.
Yeah, no, Andrew just talked about he was just trying to make his car as wide as possible to take that arrow away from you because he was afraid if you guys got a run on you, all three of you would freight train him. But congratulations on that second spot, and we look forward to seeing you next week at Iowa.
Thanks, guys. Just want to thank all of our sponsors and George and the admin team. They put in a lot of hard work, and our fellow competitors as well. I appreciate everything everybody does to make this happen.
Yeah, well, nice job. And I think we got Bart Workman coming in now.
Yeah, and Bart Workman coming home with a third place finish. We're going to let Richie catch up with him and just kind of complete the skid mark teammate group there.
Yeah, just like I talked about, Brian, really good job there at the end. That yellow flag came out perfect timing for you guys. Started 19th, finished third. All three of you guys with James Brandt worked really good together at the end. Just give me a little rundown how it went for you.
Yeah, I think we saw the cautions early on and decided that we needed to conserve fuel, just run a good pace, stay out of trouble.
Yeah, well, you definitely did run a good pace there. And once again, like I said, it looked really cool with all three of you guys running there. Once you guys kind of beat up on Justin Weaver there, I was wondering if Andrew, he really struggled to get by you guys, and you guys were working good. I was hoping you to kind of block him out a little bit more and just make it a little harder for him. But he ended up getting by you guys, but you got to be pretty pleased with the podium finish.
I'm excited about a 2-3-4 for skid mark. We work really hard, believe it or not, and we only have the one win on the team this year, and we'd like to see more. Scott Johnson's done a lot with the team over the years, and just like to see good things for the team.
Well, it's definitely hard to win in this series. It is one of the best series on iRacing, so getting that podium finish is a good job, and it's also going to be a good points haul for your team as well.
It definitely will be for one of the two teams. We're actually, the three of us are on two separate teams inside of Skidmark, but it's a great day for Skidmark and our sponsors, Minus 273 and Turn Racing and all the other great sponsors at Lionheart.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And well, I'm going to let you go, but thank you for joining us. Awesome job finishing third. You got to be happy with that. And we look forward to seeing you next week at Iowa.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate the broadcast.
You're welcome. And Adam?
Yeah, and now we're going to go ahead and catch up with Tyler Graff. Of course, Tyler had himself a really good night for the most part. Another one of those guys that's able to get up there with some track position, some pit strategy. But I don't think it's exactly his night that he's here to talk about. Of course, Tyler, one of the admins of the Lionheart series, and I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about Dan Weldon here tonight, Tyler.
Yeah, I just wanted to say a couple words about him, being that today's the anniversary, and it only happens so often where we race on the anniversary. But we all know why we do this, and how much we loved Dan and how much we love watching him race. And basically, you don't need to say a lot. The world will be a lot better with more Dan Weldons in the world. So I just wanted to get that out there and kind of just remind everybody why we do this, because we love the sport and we love the legacy that Dan is carried on through many different ways. So yeah, it's just exciting to be able to honor him in this way.
Well, of course, you've been around the Lionheart series now for quite a while, and it's one of those ones that you made mention. We don't get to race on the anniversary, that often. In fact, it might be maybe only the second time I think that Lionheart has, but. It's also at the same time, though. I mean, you go out there every single night whenever we race, and it's always on the forefront. I mean, and his nickname's in the series name, and his memory is going strong here in the series, Tyler.
Oh yeah, exactly. And like I said, it's just part of the legacy, and it's cool that I do some work with Susie with the Pro-Am events. And by the way, keep your ear to the ground, because there'll hopefully be an announcement coming in the next few months here about another cool event coming up to support his charity. Yeah, and having Dan Weldon Foundation on the car and all that is just it's just a perfect place for it. And I love how we honor him and what we add to his legacy.
Well, thanks, Tyler, for stopping by and sharing with us. And of course, part of that legacy is what Lionheart has become, with you guys getting together every year, the great races that you guys put on. And I'm sure Dan's up there smiling down on us with it. But for us here tonight, we need to go ahead and wrap it up. We got a few people to thank before we do here. And of course, lots of people come together to make Lionheart happen. And one of those groups, of course, is First Medical Equipment. They've been the source for medical supplies and equipment in the Burlington, Iowa area for years because of their superior commitment to provide the absolute best in product quality and customer service.
Sim Experience, the team behind the AccuForce Pro V2 direct drive steering systems. By providing unparalleled realism and the most advanced tuning features on the market, the AccuForce provides a significant advantage to any sim racer. It can also make for an effective training tool for real-world drivers. For more information on the entire Sim Experience ecosystem, including the GS5 Stage Series motion systems and the Sim5 software, visit simexperience.com and use promo code SIMXLINE to get 5% off all Sim5 software.
Butt Kicker products add instant immersion to any game. Unlike a subwoofer that just moves air and loses accuracy and force, Butt Kicker products move actual mass, producing a haptic immersion that's powerful and accurate. Butt Kicker products add that missing driver to car connection, bringing more realism and immersion for your sessions. See all the family of products at thebuttkicker.com. Use the promo code LION25 to get 25% off your order.
To contact any of the sponsors you see on your screen right now, go to lionheartracingseries.com, click on 2019 sponsors, read or scroll to the bottom where you can click on the company logo. The iconic original music that lets your ears alert your eyes you're watching a GSRC production comes courtesy of June Lalonde and GSRC Oh, this was last time. We're going to wish her another birthday. So see the screen on how to contact her. On the screen now are just some of the company's equipment and software that made this broadcast possible. The Lionheart IndyCar Series returns in 1 week, October 23rd for round 20, and some short track racing at Lionheart's hangout spot, Iowa Speedway. GSRC and IESN will be there to bring you all the action. We hope you join us.
Yeah, and now on the screen, you're going to find some of our upcoming broadcasts, so definitely check those out. Mark them down in your calendar. If you'd like more information about GSRC, including a complete list of future broadcasts, you can find it all at globalsimracingchannel.com. And hey, we're also on Facebook at /Global Sim Racing Channel, Twitter at GSR Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. And while you're there, if you haven't done it yet, simply subscribe by hitting that button, that big red button. You know what it looks like on the YouTube channel. On behalf of Richie, Amjad, Dougie, and the Professor, I'd like to thank you all for watching Andrew Kinsella get that win here at the Von Hansen's 200 at Gateway tonight. With that said, we're going to go have a great rest of our night. I hope you enjoy the rest of yours. Race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.